This is the BenQ TK series gaming projectors, and my first thought was simple. This feels built for players, not just movie nights. The promise is bold. True 4K detail, bright 3000 lumen punch, and short throw optics that fill a 100-inch screen from a few steps away, all while keeping input lag low enough to feel like a fast TV. From my experience, that promise mostly holds, with a few trade-offs you should know about. Let me start with the physical stuff. The chassis is clean and understated in white, easy to blend into a living room or ceiling setup. The glass up front is sharp, and the manual zoom and focus feel precise enough that dialing in a crisp image doesn't take long. There's no lens shift, which means placement matters a lot. The image wants the projector centered to the screen and square to the wall. Ports are exactly what I want for gaming. 200 HDMI 2.0B inputs that take 4K at 60 Hz, with one HDMI labeled for EARC so I can pass uncompressed audio out to a soundbar or receiver. There's USB power for a streaming stick, a 3.5mm audio jack if you need it, and an RS-232 port for control systems. On the STI variant, there's a hidden HDMI bay for the Android TV dongle, which keeps things tidy. The remote is straightforward, but it's not backlit, and I fumbled with it more than once when the lights were dim. The short-throw lens is the headline convenience. The TK700ST, TK700STI gets a 100-inch screen from roughly 6.5 feet. The standard TK700 is more of a classic throw distance, around 8+ feet for the same image size. That flexibility is huge in apartments or smaller rooms where a full-size theater throw just isn't practical. The flip side is proximity. When the projector sits closer to the seating position, fan noise and heat are more noticeable. It's not loud by projector standards, but it's not invisible either. Eco mode helps a bit if you can spare some brightness. Key features that define the experience are pretty clear. It's true 4K through pixel shifting DLP, so you're still seeing 8.3 million addressable pixels on screen. Brightness at 3000 lumens means the picture stays punchy in a living room with some lamps on. Input lag is low enough to feel immediate. 4K at 60 Hz lands in the teens of milliseconds, 1080p at 120 Hz is roughly 8 milliseconds. And on a PC, 1080p at 240 Hz is about 4 milliseconds. If you're new to these terms, input lag is the delay between your button press and what you see. Lower is better, and that's where this series shines. eARC deserves a mention too. That's Enhanced Audio Return Channel. Send video straight to the projector for the least lag. Then let the projector pass full quality audio, including Dolby Atmos, to your soundbar. One cable, clean and simple. From my experience, gaming is where this projector earns its spot. I ran a PS5, Xbox Series X, and a gaming PC. Motion looks clean at 120 Hz in 1080p, and the feel of control is instant, even in fast shooters. The game picture modes actually help. FPS mode lifts shadow detail so enemies don't hide in crushed blacks, while RPG and sports lean into color and motion smoothness. The catch is refresh rate at 4K. These HDMI ports are 2.0B, so there's no 4K at 120 Hz. On consoles, you pick your poison. 4K 60 for maximum sharpness, or drop to 1080p to get 120 Hz. For competitive play, I preferred 1080p 120 because responsiveness matters more to me than extra pixels. For open-world games and single-player adventures, I switched to 4K 60 to soak in the detail. For movies and shows, I'd call it very good in a bright room and just okay in a dark room. The brightness and sharp optics make sports and streaming look lively, and 1080p content upscales nicely to 4K. HDR10 and HLG support are here, and there's an HDR brightness slider that helps balance shadow detail against highlights. In a fully dark space, though, black levels are the limit. The projector is tuned for high brightness, so blacks tend to look charcoal instead of deep ink. Night scenes and space shots lose that cinematic depth. In my opinion, you can soften that by using an ALR screen or a bit of ambient bias lighting to lift the room's baseline. But if your priority is deep, inky blacks in a pitch-dark setup, this is not the champion. I also want to mention the DLP rainbow effect. With single-chip DLP and a color wheel, some people see momentary flashes of red, green, blue on high-contrast edges, especially when you dart your eyes. I notice it occasionally, mostly on white subtitles over dark backgrounds. It doesn't ruin the experience for me, but if you already know you're sensitive to it, keep that in mind. Audio is fine for casual use and YouTube, Not great for movies or games. The internal speaker is clear but thin. EAC is the real solution. I ran console to projector for the lowest video delay, then out to an Atmos bar through EAC. No lip sync issues, and it kept my setup minimal. That single feature makes the TK series much easier to live with. Setup notes that helped me. I measured throw distance before unboxing and aimed to mount or place the projector so the image landed perfectly square on the screen without using keystone. Keystone is digital correction for a trapezoid image when the projector is off angle. It works, but adding digital processing can increase latency, which defeats the purpose for gaming. Once I nailed placement, I spent a few minutes tweaking color temperature and switching between game and cinema modes depending on what I watched. The points I like most are the ones that matter daily. Input lag is low enough that I forget I'm on a projector and just play. Sharpness at 4K is excellent for a single chip system, and text in menus or HUD elements stays crisp corner to corner. Brightness punches through afternoon light, so I don't have to black out the room to enjoy a match. Short throw placement means I can get a huge screen in a small space, and eARC simplifies the audio chain. In my opinion, those are the wins that define whether a projector actually gets used or just admired. There are trade-offs. No lens shift means placement has to be right, and not everyone can center a projector perfectly. No 4K 120 means next-gen consoles don't hit their highest spec. Fan noise is present in quiet scenes, more so because of the short throw distance to the seating area. Black levels are the limiter for true cinema nights. I can live with these because gaming is my priority, but your mileage may vary. It's perfect for gamers who want a giant, responsive screen in a living room or bedroom, renters who can't do a long throw install, and anyone who values clean setup with eARC and a streaming stick. I'd recommend this for console players who bounce between casual and competitive, PC folks who'll push 1080p at 240 Hz, and families who watch sports with some lights on. If your heart is set on a darkroom theater vibe with deep blacks and you're sensitive to rainbow artifacts, you might be happier with a cinema-focused model that trades some brightness and speed for contrast and placement flexibility. In conclusion, the BenQ TK series gaming projectors deliver what they promise: a bright, sharp, low-lag big-screen experience that feels genuinely responsive. From my experience, it's a gaming-first projector that doubles as a very capable everyday viewer when the room isn't fully dark. Set your expectations around black levels and placement, plan on using eARC for audio, and you'll have a setup that's easy to live with and a blast to play on. If this video helped, hit subscribe and drop your questions or your setup in the comments. Thank you for watching.